Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we welcome everyone into our beacon zones. Let's play money-making game, and the Nintendo Cartridge Society plays with ya. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including leaked details of the Nintendo Switch Online playtest. And then on Thursday, we're celebrating Mario Party by casting our favorite board games with Nintendo characters. We'll figure out what that means. Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. On Instagram.
Okay, yes.
I don't have the personalized ads turned on.
Right.
And
So you just get ads for whatever?
I just get ads for whatever.
Yeah.
And it truly has become whatever. Like,
Okay.
I'm getting ads for people's just like personal accounts where
sure.
they're just promoting themselves.
Mhm.
I saw one today that was like a picture of a landscape and it said testing. So, I'm getting real high quality stuff. And I think it is changing my mind. And now maybe I do want the personalized ads.
Oh, man. I mean, maybe.
I can only watch so many would-be, crypto influencers
Right.
posting photos of themselves on a beach with like nonsensical phrases underneath, like grab your waffles.
I mean,
that sort of thing.
Here's the thing, is that the ad experience is always going to be bad, right? Like, there's no way for it to be good or for you to enjoy it. So, like, you can also do personalized ads where you then, keep telling it that, like, this ad doesn't apply to you. And like I did that on so I'm barely on Facebook, but like, I have yet to delete that account, right? And I went through a phase where like the only time I would log into Facebook would just be to like block various ads and be like, this doesn't apply to me, this doesn't apply to me, this doesn't apply to me. And now all it shows me are ads for underwear. I just get underwear.
Because that does apply to you.
Because I wear
applies
underwear.
To everybody.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But so yes, that's all Facebook wants to show me is ads for underwear. So you could get that.
Yeah. Okay, that's not
that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. All things considered.
Speaking of things that aren't all that bad, all things considered, you can head on over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you are supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit levels, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries that we're putting out, like episodes of NCS Arcade.
That's right. We are playing games primarily on Nintendo Switch Online.
But not always.
Mm-hmm. That Patrick and I have never beaten before.
Yes.
And we just put out an episode on Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. And we will soon be recording an episode about Echo the Dolphin.
Yes. Believe it or not, our episode for October is Echo the Dolphin that will be coming out in October. We're excited to talk about Echo the Dolphin.
We're definitely going to be doing it.
In the meantime, however, we do these listener feedback episodes where we read your emails with questions, observations, whatever, about the game that we played last, so Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. And we are going to be recording that episode this Wednesday, October 23rd, in the evening. So get your emails to us before then, and we will include them as part of that listener feedback episode. As a reminder, those episodes are free to anyone who follows us at any level, including the free level on Patreon. So if you are supporting us or not, you can still email us your questions, thoughts, observations about Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow or any of the Metroidvanias in that Igavania kind of milieu.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
We would love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to put out a fun conversation with your thoughts and ours. Mark, to date, no one's emailed us about Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow.
Well, they still have like 24 hours to make it happen.
They've got like 36. But, pretend like it was 24. Get them to us earlier. You can also join our Discord. Oh, you would email us by typing in Nintendo Cartridge Society
At
gmail.com into the 2-bar. People know how to use email. I don't need to describe it.
But you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I don't think I was doing a great job. I think I was doing a bad job. You could also use that email address to get into our Discord, which is where people are chatting about what's going on in the world of Nintendo. And even though it seems like Nintendo keeps like withholding the thing that people want, there's still other stuff to talk about all the time.
Absolutely.
So get in there, and that'll be good. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle source book one. We just want to plug it one more time here, Mark. I think it's possible that the 4th issue actually just came out last week.
Whoa.
Here's the thing. They don't tell me anything, right? They don't tell me a thing. But I got my comps in the mail last week.
Oh.
So the book was supposed to come out like a month and a half ago. But publishing is weird.
Well, for the last month
Yes.
or so, we've been talking it up like it's all been out there.
But now it is for sure.
Yes.
So it is all out there. I think now the collection is coming out in March. Again, I don't know. My father said he saw that on Amazon. And I was like, okay, that might be right. I have no idea. It takes a long time to publish a book.
I'm learning that.
As am I, Mark. And then, just to reiterate, we need your Castlevania emails, so send them to us. Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. So it looks like you've just been playing Echo the Dolphin.
Yes.
Okay.
And earlier when you said questioningly, we're excited to talk about Echo the Dolphin, and I said, well, we're going to do it one way or the other. I am actually excited to talk about Echo the Dolphin.
Right.
Less excited about the experience of playing it, I would say.
Yes. I mean, that has been my experience to date playing Echo the Dolphin. I have not started my playthrough for this episode yet. But I am dreading it a little.
Yeah, I don't think I really understood what I was proposing.
Right.
Like, I feel a little guilty.
No. See, here's the thing. Conceptually, Echo's fascinating.
People like this game.
That can't
It
be
got
true.
good reviews.
Sure.
And it's sold well.
We'll talk about all of this before the end of the month. But not tonight.
Not tonight. So yes, I'm primarily playing Echo the Dolphin. I'm making my way through it. It is a really interesting experience. There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Right.
And I am excited to have that conversation.
I, on the other hand, have been playing different things. After like putting it down for about a week or so, I picked the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom back up. And I loved it this weekend. Like, was just having a great time with it. There is there's a handful of dungeons like in the like first part of the game, and then there's sort of like a check-in at Hyrule Castle, and then 3 more dungeons are revealed to you, and those are approach them in any order you want. And I've done 2 of those now. But part of why I'm like slow at doing it is that like I do a little bit of the approach to the dungeon, and then I'm like, oh shoot, you know what? That reminds me of something else I wanted to do like elsewhere in the map. And then I go to that place in the map, and then there's like a bunch of little side quests that pop up, and it's just like I've gotten into the place now where it is that perfect kind of like gameplay loop that like doing one thing allows me the ability to do something else, which now feeds back into my ability to find something else. And so like just getting the might crystals to like increase the like link transformation stuff or the sword fighter transformation, and leveling up try so that like I can spawn things cheaper, or that I just got my 6th little triangle thing to summon more stuff. And I'm just having a great time. And like every now and then, like going into a weird corner of the map and like finding this enormous moblin with a sword, like level 3. And I'm like, you're mine now. You will murder everything for me. I'm having a great time with it.
That sounds incredible. That sounds like the kind of Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom loop.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, I've got to go over there and do that thing, and then on your way there, or once you're there, you see 5 other shiny objects that you want to chase down.
Yeah, 100%. That is my experience. There's also a pleasure that this game presents that I had not really internalized until this weekend. And some of this is informed for me by just like listening to other podcasts and stuff where people are complaining about the uh like the Echo menu system of like how you can access it. You can only really sort by most used, most frequently used, cost, type, and like one other thing, right? And that like every time you open up that menu, you are necessarily like sorting through like 90 things trying to find the right guy. And the feeling of opening that menu and having this like huge buffet of options feels to me like opening up my book of magic cards and being like, okay, what do I build this deck with? Or like going on a road trip and opening my CD wallet and being like, all right, how do we kick this thing off? There's something about the overwhelming nature of it where I feel like I'm about to curate my own experience, which is exciting to me. And even if it's like not the snappiest thing, it just, I don't know, it feels, I'm never so far away from the thing I want to use that like I can't find it unless it's like a really obscure thing I haven't used in a long time, in which case I can just go into like the pause menu, find it, and then I'm probably going to want to use that same thing a couple times in the area I'm in, and it's up there in my most recently used. So I don't know. I'm finding that, and it's a real complaint. I don't mean to dismiss it from other people, but it is something that is profoundly not bothering me, and even feels like a feature of the game, and not a bug.
Yeah, because there must be a reason that they chose to do it that way.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself when you're going through that long list looking for one specific thing, you come across something else and you're like, oh, actually, maybe I'll just use that?
Absolutely. Yes.
I wonder if that was the intention.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it could certainly be. I know that like or like a possible solution would be to like be able to favorite things, right? But then I feel like you would wind up using just those same four things over and over again, right? It's a little bit the like weapon degradation argument in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, a mechanic that I like because it forces a lot of like experimentation as you play. Even like, you're like, oh, I really liked using that weapon, now I have to use something else, and that same sort of thing. Even though you can always spawn stuff, like you never run out of it. In Echoes of Wisdom, just having to like navigate through those menus and not have like the same three on like hotkeys or something, it means that you experience more of the game.
Yeah, you talking about it that way, and also there's some commentators that I follow on YouTube that have recently posted, like their thoughts on the entire experience. I haven't watched it yet, but all of it just seems so glowing. I'm excited to get back to it.
Yeah, I think as it builds on itself, it just gets like better and better. I love running around Hyrule Field on my horse in a 2D Zelda game. That's nuts. I love it. It's great. And then Super Mario Party Jamboree came out last week, and of course I am duty bound and honor bound to buy everything Nintendo puts out this year. So I got my copy digitally, and Sarah and I played one round of Mario Party, 10 turns on the Wigglers board. Had fun, and I look forward to a time when we can like get a bunch of people together and play a round of Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Yeah, in that one round, anything stand out to you as different?
Well, so as you embark down a game, so Sarah likes to play with the Pro controller. I was playing with two Joy-Cons and a Joy-Con grip. And it was like, if you want to play with mini games that are like primarily motion based, you both need to just be using single Joy-Con. Do you want to do that, or do you want to keep it this way? And I was like, oh, then great that we have this option, right? In the original Super Mario Party, I'm pretty sure you did not have that option. You just always had to play with everyone with the single Joy-Con. So that was nice. It does seem like some of the like fat has been trimmed away on this. It's still like kind of talky and whatever, but like I don't know, it's a totally enjoyable, fun experience. Would be more fun with like 4 human players, but that's always going to be true of Mario Party. And yeah, we just did the one board one time, unlocked the pro set of rules in so doing. It's also it's fun that, and again, I don't know if this is a feature in previous Mario parties, but the people on like when you're all playing together on one machine, Sarah was able to use her profile on the Switch for like her characters, so it was keeping our separate like profile records, we were playing at the same time. Which is just not something I expect of a Nintendo product. But yeah, so it seems like it all works and is a pretty good Mario Party. And we'll play it together someday, I'm sure. And then just the last thing I wanted to comment on, Mark, is of course that I have set up my Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo, aka the Alarmo, and have done. I mean, first of all, basically I had to go into button mode right away with the alarm, because it's too low. It doesn't really read my presence in the bed, and also I can't disturb Sarah with it in the morning where it like slowly wakes me up or whatever. But I've also been using the sleepy sounds feature on it.
Okay, how does it work? Does it start at a specific time and then just play indefinitely until you like are in bed?
No. So the way it works is you set a bedtime, right? And bedtime denotes two things. One is that no more hourly chimes if you have the hourly chimes on. I do not. And also, when you get into bed after your bedtime, it automatically triggers 10 minutes of sleepy sounds.
Got it.
So my bedtime right now is set for like 10:30. If I get in bed at like 10:25, I'm not going to get sleepy sounds. If I get into bed at 10:45, 10 minutes sleepy sounds. And the sleepy sounds are tied to whatever game you have like the whole thing set on. So for me, I have it on Pikmin 4, so it plays the sort of like nighttime music you just like launched in your rocket, right? So you're like safe for the night. And it's a pleasant thing, but it is still music, which and is like just melodic enough for me that I'm like I can't really shut it out. My brain wants to sing along with it, you know. And Sarah hates it, and she put up with it for like 2 nights, and then put up with it while complaining about it. And then on the third night it was happening, and she started again being like, "Oh, it's just and I was like, do you want me to turn it off?" And she was like, "No, you like it." And I was like, "All right, I'm turning it off." So now the Alarmo is just a normal alarm clock for me.
Are you able to adjust the volume?
You are, but I don't really think there's a level of volume, like for sleepy sounds, for example.
Yeah.
That I could like get it low enough that like it's just too melodic. I think. Which is I think always kind of gonna happen when you're like playing music, and not just like more like atmospheric stuff, which to my knowledge isn't on there. That it's not just like white noise. It's always something that's going to be a little bit more like music.
Yeah, I'm really curious what the impact of Alarmo is going to be.
Yeah.
If any. Especially when it releases widely.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like why would it have any impact, right?
I wonder how much Nintendo will promote it.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Will they run commercials for it like they do for games when Alarmo comes out?
That's a good point.
To everyone? I just wish I knew what they expect of it.
Right.
Like, do they care if it does well? You know what I mean? Like, are they trying to make this a major revenue stream, or are they just... It's something that they've been, like working on for at least a decade and are ready to just have the fruits of their labor out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about something a little bit later in the episode where I will bring this back up again when we're talking about Bandai Namco. But yeah, it does make me wonder like what their expectations are for this thing. Did you open yours?
No, I haven't opened it. Okay. Yeah, it's still in the
box. I kind of want you just to open it so you can see like how it's packaged, because it is not packaged like a beautiful item, right?
Oh.
It does not have that like Apple quality to it.
I was kind of surprised just with the box itself.
Kind of ugly, right?
It doesn't feel like a premium $100 like alarm clock product.
It makes me wonder if that's not going to be the final packaging for when it's on store shelves, right? Like selling it to the enthusiasts already who have Nintendo Switch Online accounts or are in the Nintendo store in New York City. Like that makes sense. The box doesn't need to be anything impressive. I wonder when it launches wide in 2025 if it'll be packaged in a more attractive way.
Yeah, the whole experience was kind of underwhelming because, I get my shipment from Nintendo of America. It's just in an oversized cardboard box. You open it up. There's no Nintendo branding. It's not like a red box on the inside or,
right.
Anything. Just an oversized box with those air pockets in it.
Yep.
To prevent the Alarmo from shaking around. And then you get the Alarmo box out, and it just feels like there's too much font, or not too much font, like too much.
Yeah, there's too much copy
text.
On it,
yes. It doesn't feel premium. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel like when you pick up a Switch and it feels well put together.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the image of the box as it exists right now, and yeah, like there's a big warning on the front of it. Like takes up maybe like a fifth of the box, like a 20% along the bottom, and then just like copy everywhere. It just doesn't seem like it's packaged like a beautiful object.
Yeah,
like
I completely agree.
All right, well, so that's what we've been playing around with this week. Mark, let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
We're really zooming right to Friday, October 25th.
Let's do it. Let's get to Friday.
So Sonic Cross Shadow Generations is released.
We're sure that that's a cross.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure. I would not bet any amount of money on that.
Right.
What could it be? Sonic X Shadow Generations?
Could be. Yeah. Sonic Times Shadow.
Oh yeah.
Generations.
So this got a 9 on IGN.
Right. I saw that.
So this is I don't think I really understood what this was until now.
It's Sonic Generations.
Yeah. Like
a remake of that. Or like a remaster of it.
Plus
yes,
some shadow levels
that
are specific to this game.
And now it's important to note that when you add Knuckles to a game, it's and Knuckles. When you add Shadow to a game, it's Cross Shadow.
Or X Shadow.
Probably X. That sounds cooler, doesn't it?
But yeah, I mean, is this the Sonic game to get?
As opposed to what? Like
Frontiers?
All-Stars from last year?
Right, All-Stars.
Superstars? What's the name of that game?
Yeah, we better look it up.
I'm looking it up while you move
on
to the next game.
Ys 10 Nordics is released on Switch and other platforms. The newest entry in the Ys franchise.
Sonic Superstars.
Superstars,
yes.
And then Atari 50, the Anniversary Celebration Expanded Edition, also releases on Friday.
Which is cool that they made like another, or this is another version of the Atari 50, which I always meant to get into when it came out and just never did. Now I'm kind of like, I missed the boat on that. / don't really care about Atari. I should just play UFO 50, right? Do you know about UFO 50?
Oh, I heard about this. It's like 50 fake retro games, right?
Yes, and like there's sort of a meta narrative built into the game that like they're all games being put out by a single studio, and so you see like their progression. There are like characters that there's like a CEO and like different developers, and so you see those like personalities attached to, and it's all fake, but attached to these like 50 retro style games. Currently only on Steam. So like when it comes to Switch, I'm sure we'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm kind of just like, oh, I'll hold out for that. I think.
Hold out for the fake one.
I'll hold out for the fake one.
Yeah.
I don't need real history. I'll take fake history. Thank you.
Also on Friday, Banjo-Tooie is being released on Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack.
Very exciting that Banjo-Tooie is coming out. Mark, do you... just remind me your relationship to Banjo in general.
Yeah, I don't really have one. We never owned the game. I never owned the game. I remember playing it a few places, like at the dentist office, like that sort of thing.
Sure.
But it was always more of a tech demo.
Yes.
To me, I'm not even sure if I played the first one at the dentist office or if it was Banjo-Tooie.
Sure.
So these are not characters or worlds or anything that I really care about.
I feel like maybe now we've dropped the ball in not playing one of these for NCS Arcade.
Anytime we have to return to the Nintendo 64, a console that...
We're playing Echo the Dolphin.
It's at least...
What?
Beautiful to look at.
So, well, all right.
Like, no, the Nintendo 64, I have a soft spot for.
Sure.
And there are good games on that console. But I don't really think I
Banjo-Kazooie
enjoy.
is one of them.
I just don't think I enjoy. Well, I don't really like those collectathon games.
Right, and Kazooie is kind of before Rare goes nuts.
Okay.
By Tooie and Donkey Kong 64, they're out of their minds, and it's like a bad gameplay experience to collect everything. But in Kazooie, it's still relatively under wraps.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Under wraps isn't the right. Under control.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
wrong.
No, they were hiding it.
They were hiding it,
They were
yes.
like getting its organs out of its nose.
That's right.
And then
Mummifying
embalming it.
Yes, burying it with some cats.
Yeah. Classic Banjo-Kazooie experience.
Mark, we need here, of course, a little news interjection. It had been reported last week that VP of Marketing at Xbox, Aaron Greenberg, had said at an event promoting Microsoft Flight Simulator, quote, "Nobody cares about Banjo-Kazooie." Inflammatory.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of see what he means.
Here's the thing. Me too.
Like
Nobody cares about Banjo-Kazooie.
And obviously people care about Banjo-Kazooie in the same way that we care about Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Absolutely.
There are people that keep the torch burning for the franchise, but it's not.
There is not an economical critical mass demanding
Yes.
a new Banjo-Kazooie.
And I think it would have to be something totally different
Yes.
than what the previous games were. Even Nuts and Bolts, which was like a reinvention of the original series.
Totally.
Like, they would have to come up with a new reason for it's why we don't have a new Star Fox. Banjo-Kazooie has the same problem.
Yeah.
What do you do with Banjo-Kazooie?
What do you do with Banjo-Kazooie? And like maybe you just make a solid 3D platformer. You know, like maybe you Astrobot it, right? And just like look, he can be the standard bearer for Xbox now, and he can travel through all these different Xbox lands and like just try that. Or it doesn't even have to be like a celebration of the thing. Just make a solid 3D platformer, but then like just needs to be good.
Right.
And like there's no guarantee that your 3D platformer is going to be good.
And it's not like there's no audience for that. Like what were those games? It seemed like they all came out around the same time, like Hat in Time.
Hat in Time, obviously there's
Ukulele.
yeah.
But they were all, they had their audience, but what do you do with Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah, what do you do with Banjo-Kazooie? Greenberg, however, Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter to defend his own honor, saying, quote, "I absolutely know how much Banjo-Kazooie means to our fans and gamers everywhere. It holds a special place in my heart growing up playing these classic games." So, like...
Nerds be mad.
Nerds be mad, and those nerds care about Banjo-Kazooie, but mostly they care about caring about Banjo-Kazooie. I would think more people would complain about him saying no one cares about Banjo-Kazooie than would buy a new Banjo-Kazooie game.
Right. But it was just like, it's like the Star Wars problem.
Yes.
You have to be, if you say, even though a small percentage of your audience cares about this specific thing, in this case, Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
You have to treat that thing like it's the most important thing.
Right.
Otherwise, that small but vocal part of your audience will be big mad.
So what is the analog in Star Wars?
I don't know
Prequels?
anything.
Yeah, it's funny to say like it's the Star Wars problem and then talk about anything. 'Cause it could be like the problem with Star Wars is its own fan base hates it.
Yeah. Yes.
And then also just relatedly, I wanted to bring up that the Analog 3D, which is the Nintendo 64 thing that Analog people who made the Analog Pocket and the Super NT, both products that I own. The Analog 3D is available for pre-order today, Monday. They've released today, and as of the time that we're recording this, the black version is still available for pre-order. So
interesting.
Yes, unlike the previous two machines that I just mentioned, this one doesn't seem to be flying off the shelves at quite the same rate. The white one is sold out, but the black one is still in stock, $249.99. And it plays Nintendo 64 games. It basically has the expansion pack built into it. It has 4 controller ports on the front, and you can do like Bluetooth controller connection to it. I feel like the market is obviously smaller for this than it is for an Analog Pocket. But what do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, just like I was saying, I have fondness for the Nintendo 64, and when this was announced that it was going on pre-order earlier this week, they were showing it off, and I had actually forgotten that they had announced this at all last year.
I kind of did too, yeah.
But they look so nice, and I'm always tempted by any of these, like the Super NT, the Analog Pocket, all of those. But I don't own any carts, and so I would have to like start a game cart collection in addition to owning this. But they look really cool. I mean, the white one, I get why that one sold out first.
Yeah, the white one looks
nice.
They
look really cool.
Here's the thing, though. And I wonder if they're going to iterate on this as much as they did. They won't as much as they did with the Analog Pocket. But like Analog Pocket, after like white and black were sold out for a long time and like years went by and they were finally fulfilling orders, then they started putting out like different colors and like translucent ones and stuff like that. And like that, what's it called? The like electric purple, translucent. One of these, just like a Nintendo 64, would be a cool throwback. So it feels like if they explore any of the edges with this one, that like just hold out for one of those. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're probably not going to get there.
But I also wonder if because with the Analog Pocket, remind me, the Analog Pocket, can it only play Game Boy games, or can it play...
It can play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, and then there are different cores for it that play, like Game Gear and like other handheld
systems.
Yeah.
And then
but it's sort of a catch-all for everything pre DS.
And that's how the analog and that's how the Super NT was as well, right? Like it played...
No, the
Super Nintendo games.
The Super NT just does Super NES and Super Famicom.
Oh,
it can't play anything else.
Okay. Do they have systems that I guess? What I'm driving at that I don't know the answer to, and maybe they've already announced something, is what comes after the Nintendo.
I don't know
this system.
I don't think they've announced anything.
The Analog 3D, right? Like where do they go from there?
Yeah,
Dreamcast. Can you do a GameCube?
Yeah, I mean, like probably
go
you
back
can do
to
all
like
these
Genesis, like Sega systems.
Yeah, and like maybe they've also done like some of the. I don't know the extent of their
their fair. I don't either.
Now we're just like speculating wildly
about information that exists.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah. Sometimes we speculate wildly, and that's what we mean to do. Sometimes the information exists. But yeah, it's I think that they make cool products. They make quality products. I like the two that I have. But the Analog Pocket was a moment in time and is like just the right product. It's expensive, but not so expensive that it doesn't make sense to like get it. Game Boy and Game Boy Advance cartridges are plentiful in the universe.
And a huge library,
incredible library. And if you want to get those other cores so you can play like other libraries, it's a very versatile machine. It's also like incredibly easy to put ROMs and stuff on. So like it's a pretty good pirating machine as well. But this just feels a little bit different. Like it has a smaller utility. So I just wonder how successful it's going to be.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm interested in playing Banjo-Tooie. I guess is the thing that I wanted to get around to. I really like Banjo-Kazooie, and I've never played Tooie. So I am definitely going to put some time into this when it comes out. Mark, let's close out this segment. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. This one may end up being a little bit Nintendo related. We actually don't know.
Right.
Because we are going to be going through Games Radar's list of the best horror games you can play right now. I have to assume that there won't be Nintendo games on here.
Probably not very many. But if there are, we won't talk about them.
We won't. We'll panic when we see it. We'll go, and then we'll skip a number. So I guess there are 25 of these things. No way are we getting through all of them. But we're just going to read the title and see if we can, if we know what kind of game it is.
Yeah, if we can guess what it is.
Number 25, The Mortuary Assistant. I'm sort of imagining like a like a surgeon simulator, but
okay.
dark.
But right, like scary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that it's like a stealth game where you're a mortuary assistant and you're like caught in the mortuary after dark, and the bodies come alive, and you have to stealth your way out of it.
I actually don't know how to check this because there's like a little there's a little paragraph here that Games Radar has written, but like it does look like you are actually doing something to bodies. Looks grim. Is on Nintendo Switch, so I apologize. Should we move on?
Yes.
Okay, number 24, Returnal.
Wait, we do know what this one is, right?
Yes.
This is that like live, die, repeat type game.
Yes, it's a roguelike where it's like futury and like trippy, and it's a PlayStation 5 game from Housemark. So I think we can just move on from that one. Number 23, Slender, the 8 pages.
Slender Man?
Gotta be Slender Man.
Gotta be Slender Man.
Let me ask you this, Mark. What do you know about Slender Man?
I don't know anything
I don't know
about
anything about Slender Man.
One of the things I know is that there was a movie like
Okay.
5 years ago or something.
But like after Slender Man was a thing.
Yes.
Right.
Wait, like too far after, I think.
Yeah, but that's probably true. Yes. So
the 8 pages makes me think of that it's, some sort of spell book or demon book.
the premise is simple. Find 8 pages scattered throughout a spooky forest location without the Slender Man catching you.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good. Number 22, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly.
I don't know anything about this specific Fatal Frame game.
Sure.
There are Fatal Frame games on Nintendo consoles.
And we're not talking about those now.
No.
These are on PS4 and Xbox One.
I don't know. You're probably a young girl.
Yeah.
And you have a camera.
Uh-huh.
You probably have like
Japanese
a sister
horror and folklore.
or a
Yeah.
friend
I think
who's around your age.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 21, Mundaun. Mundaun? Mundaun. Creepy little game with a lighthouse and midsummer vibe to it. Okay, that sounds cool.
Okay, Nordic horror.
Sure.
Also
all right.
available on Switch.
Oh, all right, but we're not talking about that. Yeah, it looks like that one looks too scary. I'm not. Mark, I'm not interested in that. Number 20, The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners. Is this a VR one?
Oh, it could be. So it's like a first. Let's say it is.
Okay.
So you're first person killing zombies.
I mean, you're in the world of The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
So probably the humans are the real. They're like the real threat.
Yes.
But yeah, obviously first person, and it looks like that's probably right. Yeah, that's got to be right. Number 19 is Resident Evil Village. We understand that. That's Resident Evil 8. Number 18 is a game called Carrion. We may have actually seen Carrion in a Nintendo like Indie World Showcase at one point.
Oh, is this the one where it's like it turns the tables and you're playing as the monster? Or
Yes,
something like
you are
that?
playing as the giant flesh blob monster eating its way out of a laboratory. But we should stop talking about it because we saw it in Indie World Showcase. Number 17, Prey.
Arcane Studios, right?
Yes, Prey. Prey. Not like
Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, very good. I don't know Prey.
I think it is like BioShocky. I think it's a single-player
Okay.
game that Arcane Studios created.
Doesn't offer as much breathless horror as Dead Space, but does especially blah 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 blah. Fairly straightforward alien shooter. All right, sounds cool. Little Nightmares 2 is number 16. Did I skip some numbers?
No, I think we're
we're really
through
cruising along. Okay. Little Nightmares, another one I'm afraid that we saw too much of in Indie World Showcases. Until Dawn. Mark, what do you know about Until Dawn?
I know that they're making a movie of it.
Yes.
That's like, and maybe they announced a remaster for it recently.
I think it just came out.
And the director of it originally is upset that I don't think he's involved with this remaster. I don't know.
If that's right.
These are all headlines that I vaguely read.
Data points.
Exactly.
Here's what I know about
But I have
Until
no
Dawn.
understanding of.
It's like a storytelling game.
Okay.
Right? And it's got Hayden Panettiere in it.
Oh, okay.
From Heroes.
Right, yeah.
And Nashville and Scream 4 and 6. I know her career a little bit. And Rami Malek, like before he popped.
Oh, it's that old?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the original one was like an early PS4 title.
Okay.
I think. So that actually is what that game is. Number 14, Darkwood.
No idea.
You play the role of a haunted tree.
I like this. Yeah. Once again, the roles are reversed.
Yeah, that's right. now the woodsmen fear the trees. We're never going to know what that game actually is because I'm closing that out.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend that it's like that brief scene in The Wizard of Oz where they're picking apples from...
Yeah. How would you like it if I picked fruit off of you?
Exactly. And somebody saw that and was like, that's a game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm into it now. We were accompanied today by the RC Chamber Orchestra. Mark, let's get into the news for real this time.
All right. Mea culpa on this one because details of the Nintendo Switch Online playtest have leaked ahead of the test becoming active on Wednesday, October 23rd. And I think just last week we were talking about what could
this
the
be?
playtest be.
Yeah.
And I was positive
yes.
that it wasn't going to be anything new from Nintendo that and boy could I not have been any more wrong.
So I think I was allowing in my heart for it to be something more exciting, right? And something a little bit more like all encompassing. I was not envisioning this at all, which it sounds like it is a discrete new gameplay experience from Nintendo.
Yes. And so I think I did not make it into the playtest, but I think...
And I did. Right.
But none of this information is coming from you.
Right.
We're taking this all specifically, that's right, I'm naming names, from a write-up on Vooks.net.
Sure.
That's where all these details are coming from.
Well, and it's all coming from a user who was one of the about 10,000 whatever selected to participate, who took screenshots of the thing right away and just like posted them in a very like, kind of like performative, showy kind of way, sort of annoying. But like, I think we can assume that all of this information is going to be out everywhere immediately anyway.
Yeah, and I think by this point there's been multiple, like somebody posted on X, some of it came from online forums, like of course,
right,
as soon as it was available for download, everybody wanted the internet points.
Can I share with you what I think I would like us to do with my access to this? What I want to do, Mark, is I want to talk about it on this show, and I'm always going to, I want us to always bury it in the show a little bit. So it's, like when we're talking about it, like what we've been playing, and it's never part of like the headline or the write-up of the episode. So like if you're listening now, you're like, where to find my impressions.
Right.
But it's not going to be easy to find it and like, send Waluigi to beat us up.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I will share my experiences after I've got a chance to play some of it.
So here's what we know.
But the names of the episodes will never say the one where Patrick tells you what happens in the playtest.
No, because we're scared.
We're scared!
Yeah. We do want Senpai Nintendo to notice us, but not for these reasons.
No. Only for being good little boys.
Exactly.
Only for buying everything they put out this year. By the way, I did order one of the charging stands.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I ordered it from Best Buy. They don't have it in stock for whatever reason, so I have to wait until Thursday to pick it up.
Excellent. Can't wait for the impressions of that next week. I mean, perfect timing for Super Mario Party Jamboree.
It's true. That actually was something that came up that when I was buying it. I was like, there's actually a practical application for this. Did I need this specific one that's $10 more than one that charges 4 at once? No. Sorry.
No, here we go.
The playtest.
Yeah, the playtest. So here's what we know. Again, this is I'm just pulling this directly from an article.
Yes.
So, quote, the goal is to work with others to fully develop a massive, expansive planet by utilizing creativity and farmed resources. As you progress across the planet, you'll discover new lands, enemies, and resources to aid you on your journey.
Right. Okay. So already from that, it's a little bit like maybe survival gamey, a little bit Minecrafty, a little bit
A little bit
MMO-y.
Arc. Like,
Sure.
yeah, it seems like it's all of those pieces
Mm-hmm.
together. Seems from like the screenshots that have been posted online, it has like a unique art style. Apparently there's like, you know, at least 30 tracks of original music that have already, been data mined and are
Outrageous. Yeah.
online. So it's like this is clearly a thing that is seemingly more than just, like a rough tech demo.
Right. Right. Please continue with the Vooks.net
Okay.
write up.
As you play through the game, you'll receive special tools called beacons. These beacons emit a healing light that purifies and develops the land. The higher your beacon is placed, the wider the area it purifies. Within your beacon zone, you can move, lift, and edit items. In this zone, you can create whatever you like: platforms, stairs, Minecraft like blocks, trees, and other items as shown in the screenshots, which they did not post, but
Right.
are available online.
Well, because a lot of those are being like taken down.
Yeah.
So again, we'll talk about it, but like deep in these episodes, we do not want to get taken down, Mark.
However, you can only edit your own zone, not anyone else's nearby. Areas outside of the beacon zone are public spaces where anyone can work and place items. So this also kind of, like you mentioned, like Minecraft and all of that. It also reminds me of like probably is still in the game somewhere, but like the early days of Fortnite where you would land,
Sure.
and then you could start building your own like fortress and your own,
Right.
like cabin and like that sort of thing. People would build like really tall platforms and all of that.
Yeah, I mean the idea that like the higher up your beacon is, the like larger your area becomes, does imply to me that there's like something challenging or compelling about getting up high, which like yeah, that's like one of the things in any kind of like building game where you're like, let's see how high I can get, you know? One of the super fun things about Dragon Quest Builders, which is a game I liked quite a bit, was building like high towers to protect you from like monster attacks or whatever. Do you want to keep going?
Yep. The game also features a dev core, a separate area from the planet that serves as a social hub where players gather. Here you can level up your character, which resembles a cross between a Fall Guy and Pushmo. Every player has a special skill called the Development Positioning System, or DPS, which allows them to see the development status of the planet and the position of other players. Anyone can create content for the game, but you must first earn a UGC license to do so, essentially to prove you're not going to cause trouble.
Yes, so UGC, user-generated content.
Quote, to create UGC, you must obtain a UGC license by taking a test in the game to show that you understand the importance of respectful communication.
So at this point, I will say something about my own experience with the playtest so far, which it's obviously not like fully active at the moment. But you do on the Switch have to like agree to the like terms of like use for the thing, and there's the like, we ask you not to talk about it. Please don't share your download code with somebody else. But in a slightly more urgent framing and like more like severe framing, they're like, don't be rude. Don't do anything that could be like offensive. Don't make things that could be offensive. Treat everyone with respect. I don't know how Nintendo plans to enforce any of this, but it does seem like as they venture into this like highly UGC space with like a persistent online world, that they are like, my God, we need to do whatever we can to stop people from, making penises out of stuff in the game.
But the problem is that they are never going to be able to act fast enough.
Right.
With, like critical mass. I mean, we saw that even with like Smash Brother custom stages. There's
or
just
the
like
Splatoon like little language box things. Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff you can draw on those. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean there's a quick report feature. You can just push left on the D-pad at any point to like report content that you find offensive. I don't know what the review process is for that, or if people are going to be offense bombing each other. Like who knows?
It is so, when this was first announced, the Nintendo Switch Online playtest, they were talking about testing a new feature for Nintendo Switch Online. So it doesn't seem to me that this is in development as like a standalone game or something.
Right.
And maybe like I guess like yeah, that's the primary question. Is this a beta of an experience that we can expect to be fully fleshed out and released? Or is this like a very polished tech demo that they
Right.
are just
Are then
like
going to
trying out a bunch of different
Right.
things?
Yes. Or is this like a skeletal version of the next Animal Crossing? Right? Like it doesn't look or sound like Animal Crossing now, but they're just like building up the technology for it. And maybe not Animal Crossing, maybe it's a new Zelda, or like it could be anything. And it's just kind of like, what i- is this? Is this what it is, or is this something else in disguise?
Right. Yes, exactly. The fact that, again, just going back to what they told us, which is that it's like testing a new feature in
A
development
new
for Nintendo
feature,
Switch
yes.
Online. Is this PlayStation Home?
Right.
Is it like, okay, this is what Nintendo Switch Online is now, or
Right.
a
Well, because like we don't really have a sense of we had like a small list of like objects that were observed in the screenshots that presumably you can generate within your beacon area. And are those all the things that people are going to encounter in the playtest, or are there like Nintendo franchise specific things? How do you get access to those things? Will those things be in the final version of this whenever it comes out? Like this could still be the, like you say, PlayStation Home, or like unified achievement system slash like way to show off your achievements. Is that like, do you get a special set of doors for beating Bowser's Fury, and then like get them in this, and like you show off to people that like you beat that game?
You know what it really
It could be anything.
It could be anything. Do you know what it reminds me of in a way is, or I guess it doesn't. Here, I'll just finish my thought. On the Nintendo 3DS, I'm blanking on what it was called, but there was a game essentially that you could play with the Mii avatars that you gathered through Street Pass. And then it was like kind of like an RPG. There were like little levels, and the more Mii's that you gathered, the stronger you became, and the faster that you could
plow
accomplish
through
the
these
task.
dungeons. Yeah,
exactly. And I wonder if this, in some ways, is an elaboration on that same sort of idea, where it's like, okay, you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. There are certain things that come with that Nintendo Switch Online subscription. There's a retro game library. There is the ability to play online. And then there's some other things. There's like Tetris 99.
right.
F-Zero 99. These free game trials. But what if, kind of like the killer app of all of this, because there are only so many people who are going to care about retro game libraries. There are only so many people who care about online games. But if they can get you to sign up for $20 a year, or $50 a year, or whatever.
Right, because right now the sign up was exclusively for the expansion pass subscribers,
right,
which is $50 a year.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they can get you to sign up for it, because there's this whole other game or experience that you can do.
Right.
And the reason my thought went to that Nintendo 3DS thing is, to me, it feels like the same sort of idea, where it's, how do we get you engaging with other people and gamifying that?
Right. Well, and like, it's funny, in my head I keep like putting a like Dragon Quest Builders, or like MMO, or even Minecraft like sort of skin on it, where I'm assuming there's combat of some kind in here, but nothing that we've read actually implies that at all. Like there's an implied journey, and you're developing a planet, but like utilizing creativity and farmed resources. Maybe you're not fighting in this game.
Right. And then what happens when the planet is complete?
Right.
And that was the other thing. I don't know why but another thing that my mind sparked to was in like 2012. Do you remember that mobile game? I hesitate to even call it a game, from like Peter Molyneux, about where it was like the cube, and it was just in real time. People could chip away at pieces of the cube until the cube like revealed itself. The fact that they're talking about finishing a planet, working together kind of to cover a planet, and then presumably something else happens. Maybe another planet opens up for you to work on or something.
Can you travel between planets? Like in the final version of this thing, if there is a final version of this thing, is everyone on the same planet? How do you communicate with people that you're sharing these spaces with? It's all question marks at this point.
I also wonder if you'll get a survey or something to take
I'm
part
sure
in at the end to provide feedback. But very interesting. I had no concept in my mind that this is what this playtest would end up being.
Do you suspect that this is going to be something that we see like the final version of on the next Switch, or is it possible that this is still a Nintendo Switch release?
My expectation is that it would show up on the next system.
Right? I mean, I agree with that. But who knows? This is all so fascinating, and I feel like even though we got like information about what this is, and that information is surprising, that we still know nothing about it.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting to hear your experience with it buried deep in an episode where we're sandwiching it.
That's right.
Between two unsuspecting pieces of content.
Right. So if we ever start an episode and it sounds like we really don't have anything to talk about, just like hang on for a little bit. Anything else about the playtest?
I wonder. I mean, it also seems very possible to me that they'll open this up because, I mean, bless their hearts, they also said, please don't share this.
Yeah.
Of course, immediately got shared. So they're also saying, please be respectful and considerate with the UGC.
Right.
With the user-generated content that you create. And I wonder if they are just unprepared for the amount of
How could they possibly be unprepared?
And filth and just,
when the perfect time to run this is right before an election in the U.S.
I guess but I wonder if they will just be overwhelmed by the amount of horrible things that get posted. They're like, do you know what? We're just shutting this whole project down.
Right. Turns out we can't stop the swastikas.
Exactly.
They're just there.
I mean, I guess. Although it hasn't stopped anybody before. I was going to say it's tied to people's Nintendo Switch Online account.
That's true.
So you could get banned, but when has that stopped anybody from doing anything terrible ever?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the fact that it is like necessarily tied to something that you're paying for does kind of mean that like they would have like tighter controls about like shutting down something that you would genuinely be disappointed about having been shut down.
Right.
And then like have to start back up again, and maybe they could anyway. But yeah, I mean, who knows? It's the Wild West here. Good luck, Nintendo.
Yeah, good luck. The identity of the development team behind the upcoming Mario and Luigi Brothership has been an unresolved question since the game's announcement. Nintendo likes to keep that information secret until the game is released. Previous Mario and Luigi game developer Alpha Dream went out of business after the disastrous launch of the remake of Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Jr.'s Journey.
Yeah, it's a tough title.
In 2019. For the Nintendo 3DS, famously just like a huge bomb.
Yep.
Early reports seem to indicate that individual members of the original Alpha Dream team were working on this new entry, and this week the developer was revealed to be Acquire.
Acquire.
And I think we know this because copies of the game are out in the wild.
Which is also nuts.
Yeah. Acquire is a Japanese studio who in recent years have most notably assisted in development of the Octopath Traveler games with Square Enix.
Right, so their RPG bona fides seem to be genuine.
And I think this also confirms that members of the original Alpha Dream team are working at Acquire. We also learned that Brothership was developed with Unreal Engine, which is notable but not like crazy unique. Princess Peach Showtime, Pikmin 4, and Yoshi's Crafted World were all made with an Unreal.
I guess just good to know as we're keeping score of like Nintendo's development partners.
Was Pikmin 4 really an Unreal Engine game? It wasn't developed
Yeah.
on like Nintendo's internal engine.
I know. Weird,
That's
right?
really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but so just good for the internal scorecard of who's developing games with Nintendo. Now Acquire can be added to that list.
I mean, also just continues the year of no. I don't think a Nintendo internal studio has been the lead developer on any first-party Nintendo game released this year.
Yeah, that is a great point.
Another Code was not them.
Right.
Princess Peach was not them.
What about Mario versus Donkey Kong?
That was oh yeah, maybe that was but it was NST, the North American branch.
Yes, that's right.
And not any of like the Japanese studios.
Right. And then Grezzo made Echoes of Wisdom. What about Nintendo World Championships? That's
that was, I can't remember their name, but
yeah.
It was not them.
Right.
It was the developers of like the NES Remix games, I think.
And another something or other that I can't remember.
Again, information that exists.
Information that exists.
Yeah. But yeah, I think other than let's see, Paper Mario would have been Intelligent
Systems, right?
So yeah, I don't think that they've been the lead developer on anything.
And Luigi's Mansion 2
was Next Level Games.
Was Next Level, yeah. There you go.
No, I don't think that's right. It was Tantalus or something.
Or was it the we don't know. But you're right that these are all outside studios.
Yeah. Vampire Survivor and Konami are teaming up for some Castlevania DLC.
So this is not the first time that Vampire Survivor has teamed up with Konami.
No, there's some
like
Contra
DLC,
yes,
which is a hilarious thing to do before Castlevania DLC in Vampire Survivor.
But now the Ode to Castlevania update is launching October 31st for $3.99 and includes over 20 characters, more than 40 weapons, 30 plus music tracks, and the biggest stage yet.
Which sounds awesome. Let's get in there with Soma Cruz. If Soma Cruz is not among the 20 new characters,
especially who we know
who that is now.
Vampire
It's from Dawn of Sorrow, which is the game that we just played
for
NCS Arcade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vampire Survivor is also in the latest Nintendo Switch Online game trial in North America, which starts this Wednesday, October 23rd, and runs for 1 week.
The game is always super cheap, so whatever. But if you have not played Vampire Survivor, check it out as part of the game trial if you are an NSO subscriber.
Speaking of which, speaking of Nintendo Switch Online game trials, we were giving Nintendo of America a little bit of guff a few months back because Nintendo of Europe started offering game trials for 3 games at a time, and we weren't getting that in North America. But Nintendo of America has started offering 3 games as well. So in addition to Vampire Survivor, you can also try out A Little to the Left and Cursed to Golf starting on Wednesday.
And I believe both A Little to the Left and Cursed to Golf had been featured in like Indie World Showcase.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Well, probably Vampire Survivor too, now that I'm thinking about it.
And in Europe, it's A Little to the Left and Cursed Golf, but Minecraft Dungeons is available instead of Vampire Survivor.
And again, Vampire Survivor I think sets you back $4.99. So
I was wondering because
it's so cheap.
The Konami DLC is Castlevania DLC is like $3.99. It's basically the cost of the game.
Yeah, but okay. You can put Castlevania DLC in any indie game, charge as much as the indie game is worth, and people will buy it.
It seems like the Castlevania characters, I don't know why, it feels like it'd be especially fun to do that in multiplayer.
Absolutely, yes.
Bloomberg reports that Bandai Namco has canceled several games that were in development due to, quote, lackluster demand, including a title commissioned by Nintendo.
Interesting.
No clue what that Nintendo commissioned title could be, but Nintendo Everything points out that in 2022, Bandai Namco posted job listings for a remaster or remake of a 3D action game from Nintendo.
Okay, so that is presumed to be a 3D action game made by Nintendo?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I wonder what that was.
Right. There have been, I hesitate to even, I guess, rumors
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, like, was it speculation? Was it rumors? Or were people just making it up? Or wishful thinking
Yep.
that Kid Icarus Uprising,
Sure.
a remake or something, could have been in development? Or, but I just don't know if that was wishful thinking or if
Right.
that was
But,
ever a real thing.
like, Bandai Namco obviously has a relationship with Masahiro Sakurai as they worked on the last, well, I'll say 3 Smash Brothers games: Smash 4, Wii U, Smash for 3DS, and Ultimate, under the direction of Masahiro Sakurai. So, that they would be remaking his 3DS classic makes sense. But yeah, obviously we have no idea if that's true or not.
The kind of like main thrust of the article is that reportedly Bandai Namco is encouraging some staff to leave by putting them in banishment rooms where they're given nothing to do in hopes that they'll eventually quit.
Right. This is what you do with like teachers who have tenure, but like you have to fire them because they are flirting with kids or something. That like the concept of a banishment room at like a Japanese company is fairly common, right? Like that Japan has more rigid labor protections than a lot of different places in the world, certainly more than the U.S. So you can't just like fire people for without cause. And the cause can't be that we're not making enough money to support you. So if that is happening at Bandai Namco, it is likely just part of like the corporate culture of a
Right.
big company in Japan.
And they deny that that's what they're doing.
They
but
deny it.
That's what the reporting says.
This, Mark, is where I pull the pin out of the Alarmo discussion that we were having earlier. Alarmo feels like Nintendo not putting people into banishment rooms where they were working on a product or like on concepts for a very long time, and we're finally like, okay, we've reached the end of what we can do with this. What do we do? And they're like, I don't know, put it out.
Right.
So like they're keeping people busy, they're keeping people engaged in making some kind of product, and maybe their expectations aren't that it sells a bunch, but the expectation is that they kept those people employed, they kept them on staff, they kept them making something.
Right. And, in that Ask the Developer that they released about Alarmo, they talked about that there were 3 different teams. There were I might have mentioned this last week,
I think
but like
did, yeah.
the software engineers, the system engineers, and the hardware people, that they were working together in a capacity that they never had worked before,
Right.
and that was really challenging. And the learnings from that are probably really valuable, more than because whatever Alarmo was probably R&D for the longest time.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And there must be so many prototypes and things that Nintendo develops and kills. So the fact that Alarmo made it through the birth canal is very impressive.
Yes.
Anything else that we want to talk about with the Bandai Namco stuff?
I put together like a little list of like the games and series that Bandai Namco has been involved with from the Nintendo stable. They developed all 3 of the Donkey Konga games. Donkey Konga, I kind of swallowed that last vowel there. They made Star Fox Assault. They went on a little tear of making Mario baseball games. They made Superstar Baseball in 2005, Mario Super Sluggers in 2008, and then the Mario Sports Superstars, which had a couple different sports games in it. They made the Pokken Tournament games, so both the original on like in arcades and on Wii U, and then again the Pokken Tournament DX on Switch. I already mentioned the Smash Brothers games, and then they as a support studio, like made roughly like by their own accounting about half the assets, visual assets for games developed by the Mario Kart team. So Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, and Mario Kart Tour. So like they work with Nintendo seemingly a fair amount, both like developing things on their own under the direction of a Nintendo director, and also just like as a support for another like in-house studio. So it's a little bit troubling to seeing them like struggle, but also Bandai Namco puts out so many games every year, and like slow down. We don't need like 8 Naruto games from you guys this year, right?
Well, I mean, it's also Plus, they were added to this list at one point or another. They were rumored to be the company behind Metroid Prime 4 before that got rebooted.
That's right.
It was like Bandai Namco Singapore or something.
Yeah.
Was rumored to be the lead studio on that.
Right.
It is
Before
crazy
Retro
how
took it over again,
close of a relationship they have with Nintendo
Yeah.
and how long they have been working with Nintendo
Yeah.
on projects.
Yeah, and like it's just funny that like we don't tend to think of them as like a like mainline Nintendo support studio, but like they totally are.
There's another Japanese development support studio who is well known, but I am just blanking on the name. And they, within the last couple of months, announced a similar thing as Bandai Namco, where there are just fewer projects for them to work on, and projects are getting canceled. I think the reporting was that Square Enix, obviously in the past year has been going through a lot of changes in their development goals and what kind of games they're pursuing, and I think this studio was affected by that. It's really bugging me that I can't pull the name right now, but anyways, I think this is something that we have talked a lot about, like Western studios going through a lot of changes in the past couple of years, a lot of layoffs, all that kind of stuff, and it seems like now even Japan isn't immune from the kind of turmoil in the game industry.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's just like it's not only this, but a lot of it is contraction after the pandemic, right? That like the game market exploded, and now like I don't know, people are mostly back to their normal lives, and so spend money on other things now. I do think it's interesting, just to point out that Bandai Namco worked on both Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which is like two of the best performing games. On the it's like first party Nintendo, them, and Game Freak, and like those are the like top 20 best selling games on Switch.
Yeah, you also have to imagine that probably for their support work, they get paid a one-time fee for making those assets, and it's not like they see residuals or anything from the incredible sales of these games.
Although I bet they got continued monies from working on the character, and that's also another interesting part, right? Is that the DLC packs for both Smash and Kart are so vast that like they're probably working on those titles for a long time.
Yeah. Universal Studios has announced that Epic Universe, the new theme park at Universal Studios Orlando, will open May 22nd, 2025. And the reason we're talking about it is because it includes Super Nintendo World and the Donkey Kong themed expansion.
The Donkey Kong themed expansion that we do not have here at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Right.
Where would it go?
I know.
There's no room.
No space.
It's such a small park, and so much of it is just devoted to getting people between the upper level and the lower level.
It's true. Yeah, there's not really room for much else. Really, they kind of have to like take something out in order to put anything new in. But they don't really have that problem in Florida. The Donkey Kong expansion that is going to be at Epic Universe was originally supposed to open at Universal Studios Japan in spring this year, but got delayed a few months ago to the latter half of 2024. But we haven't heard any updates since then. So who knows what's happening there? The rumors are that the minecart coaster that is like the first of its kind that gives the illusion of actually jumping
the track.
That they're having trouble with that, and so that's what's caused the delay.
You know what they should do is just make it jump the track.
I mean, I've tried in Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, but this is Nintendo. That's you making it.
No. That's a fair point. But yeah, so I feel like it would be really fun to experience the Donkey Kong Land.
Yes.
But I think we should just go to Japan to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Because absent anything else, where would I rather go? Japan or Orlando?
Right.
So I'm gonna go to Japan.
So we'll just keep our ears up.
We'll keep our ears up. If there's something special happening at Orlando that's not happening anywhere else, then maybe we'll go to Orlando.
Finally, today on Tuesday, the special final episode of Masahiro Sakurai's On Creating Games YouTube channel premiered. The tense
will premiere.
The tense for this I couldn't really figure out because it's happening at 4 a.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
8 p.m. in Japan. So probably by the time you're listening to this, it's already happened. But there is a chance that you could be listening to this and it has not happened yet.
If you're living on the East Coast of the United States and you're listening to this episode on your way into work, maybe it hasn't happened yet.
Right. Or you live in Europe.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Right. I don't know how that works.
Well, if you live even earlier, it's like your afternoon. So you're getting this episode at like 8 a.m.
Sure.
Possibly. That's the earliest you could be getting it.
Right.
But
then we got to move the time. This episode will only be alive in the universe for 4 hours by the time Sakurai posts his final
that's
video.
The important part. So I couldn't figure out if I should talk about it in the past tense or in the future tense. But here are the facts.
Either way, we don't have any information about it except for what Mark's about to say because we haven't seen it.
It's a little over 40 minutes. And honestly, I'm sad to see the channel come to a close. It's just been a lot of fun. I haven't watched every video, but just checking in every now and then has been a real treat.
We talked about this last week, I believe, but like every now and then he puts out like an absolute heater that is like super fun and engaging and insightful about the game development process or just like his life as a gamer.
Or sometimes just his cat.
Sometimes
there's just an episode devoted to his cat.
Is this just another episode of this show? Is it a goodbye? Is it something more? Capital S, capital M?
I don't even want to speculate because by the time this is out, we'll know. But it is being like live premiered.
Yes.
So everybody can watch it together and there's like a live chat and everything. And it's 40 minutes long. So it is more than just a usual episode. It's more than just a goodbye.
Right. So there's something happening here. And like the fact that it's being live premiered, but also like it's his last one, right? So it just makes me wonder if like something's going to happen or something has happened with this, you know? I don't know even know what I'm suggesting. If he's like revealing a new game that he's working on.
Or like what he's going to do next. Maybe he's going to raise horses and
maybe he's going to raise horses. Maybe he's going to launch his own video game hardware company to rival the Nintendo. Right?
But whatever he decides to do, I'm looking forward to it. It'd be fun if maybe we hear a little bit about what's next in this video.
Yeah, but I kind of actually don't expect that it's not gonna break news here, right?
No, I don't think so either. I don't expect that.
Right, even though it would be fun. All right, so we're setting our alarmos right now.
That's right,
so that we can wake up at 4 a.m. to watch this thing. No, we'll catch up with it later, right?
Right.
And talk about it maybe next week. Who knows? All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much for listening. If you are not already in the Discord, you should email us and we'll send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers, saying thank you for listening.